Hey, what's up guys? Back again with another video in the Python series. This time I'm going to teach you about variables.
Over when you say it's over, I'm not sober, loner. She left me so lonely with no closure. Now I don't feel the same. Think these drugs drive me insane. See me live and I cannot forgive. Think I'm really
Alright guys, so I'm back. So the first thing you want to do, of course, is open up the PowerShell or whatever command prompts you're going to be using to work with the Python REPL. So of course we're going to open up Python. So Python, there we go. So now we can run some Python code basically. So yeah, what I'm going to teach you now is called variables, and they're very simple. They're very common in pretty much a lot of the most popular programming languages, and they're pretty much simply used to store data or store values of something, right? So it's basically a name that can store a value. So we can store, like, basically think about algebra, right? Once you entered algebra, you start learning about how to use letters inside of, mathematical operations and stuff like that or whatever. So basically what I mean is, like, you have the x and y, like you would solve for x and solve for y, and you would basically find out that x and y is equal to some value, okay? So x and y both store values, and so that's basically an easy example of what a variable is. But basically a variable can be, it doesn't have to be x, y, a, b, c, d, e, f, g, h, I, j, k, blah, blah, blah. It can be any word, it can be anything like that. As long as it has a name, then it stores a value. So basically let me show you how to declare a variable. It's very simple. So let's say we want to create a variable, right? And we want it to store the number 5, right? So first we need to give it a name. So we need to name the variable. So we're going to name it, we'll just name it pig, because pigs are cool. We'll name it pigs actually. So how many pigs do we want to store basically is equal to, so you put the equal sign here and then space and then what the value is, right? So there's many types of values that you can store with, variables, but we're going to stick to numbers for now since that's what we know. And the next episode we're going to begin learning the different data types, So just stay with numbers for now and then we'll move on next episode. So first, yeah, you give it a name, so pigs in this case. And then now we get the equal sign, so that's basically telling it that we're assigning a variable. And then now we give it the value of the variable, of course, okay? So once you set that, you can add some more onto it, add some more numbers onto it, or if that's it, you just press enter. And now pigs should be equal to 5, okay? So yeah, we can call upon pigs anytime by doing this. So pigs. So if we just press enter after you type pigs, it'll just say what the value of pigs is, and of course it's 5, right? So that basically means that we successfully set it to equal 5. And so we can do some other stuff, right? We can print out the value. Of course, we just did that a second ago. Or we could do the print function, so print pigs like that, in case you're doing a text version of the program. And then we could do some mathematical operations. So before we did something like this, 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. So now we can use the variable in place of, a number, right? Just like we would do in math. So usually in math, you might do something like 5 plus x. So we can make a variable of x, but we don't have one. We have pigs, right? So we can do 5 plus pigs. And since pigs is equal to 5, we should get 10 also, right? So like I said, we could store the value of x too. So x is equal to 2. So now x is equal to 2, as you can see here. Now it's equal to 2. Good. So we can do 5 plus 2, and now we get 7. We could do, that's 7. But now we could do 5 plus x, or x plus x, and then we get 4, right? And then we could do pigs plus x. So the point is basically you can do mathematical operations, anything you want to do, just like you would do with a regular number, right? So you could also reassign the value of a variable even though you've already set it. So we know for sure that pigs is equal to 5 and then x is equal to 2, but we can reassign those values just by doing this again. So pigs is equal to 8. So instead of 5, it'll be equal to 8. So we could do print pigs just like that, and we could see that pigs is equal to 8, right? We didn't need to do print, but just for example purposes, I did print. But anyway, so we can also reassign the value of x. So if we check and see x is still equal to 2, so we want to reassign it. So we'll set x equal to 0. So there we get 0. So we could just put x like that, and we can see that x is officially equal to 0, right? We could even do float values, like I told you about floats. So we do pigs is equal to, let's do something like crazy, like x plus 6.7, just like that. And now we could do print out the value of pigs, and we get 6.7, right? Because pigs is equal to 0, so it's the same, or x is equal to 0, right? So it's the same thing as doing x plus, or 0 plus 6.7, and that's of course equal to 6.7. So pigs is equal to 6.7 now. So yeah. So it's all very simple, of course. So you're just assigning values to basically a name, right? And then of course you can reassign the values if you want to. You can use them in math operations. You could do anything you want to. And we're going to be exploring this feature a lot in the future because variables are actually a big part of programming and a lot of different programming languages, like I said. So that's what that is. So that's good that you know that. You know how to create a variable now, how to use it, how to reassign it, and all that fun stuff. But now you need to know how to name a variable, right? So before we just did simple names, simple letters. But sometimes, what if you start assigning a variable with like something like this, right? So let's say you do something like this. So 2 pigs is equal to 7. You're gonna get a big error because you cannot assign a variable when the first letter is equal to a number, right? The first letter of the first character of a variable has to be a letter, okay? That's what that is, or underscore at least. So we could even do underscore pigs is equal to 7, right? As long as it's not a number or anything else, you'll be good to go, okay? It has to be a letter or an underscore to start off with, okay? And of course, the rest of the variable name doesn't even matter, as long as it's a letter, number, or underscore. So we could do something like this. We could do pigs are cool, number, or just 2, is equal to 25, and we don't get an error because we did not start the variable with a number, so we're good to go, right? So that's pretty simple stuff. Of course, our other variables are still in here. We could simply do pigs, we could do underscore pigs, we could do x, and they're all stored, okay? So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's how you name variables, as long as you don't start it with an underscore, a number, and as long as you do start it with a letter or underscore, you'll be good to go, okay? And something else is that variables are actually case sensitive, meaning that if you create a capital or a variable with a capital letter inside of it, okay? So let's say you do something like this, right? So pigs, capital P, pigs is equal to 25, right? That is actually not the same thing as the pigs with the lowercase p, okay? So pigs is equal to 25, but pigs is equal to 6.7. So capital P, pigs is equal to 25, but the other one isn't because the case matters. See that this one's uppercase, this one's lowercase. The case actually matters, so they're not equal, okay? So just make sure you keep that in mind, okay? So now you have something called naming conventions, which are not rules exactly. You don't have to adhere to them to create variables, but they're a common practice within the Python programming language, okay? These are things that you want to basically follow if you want to be a professional programmer, I guess you could say, because other people follow them, other professional developers follow them, okay? So it's very simple. It's nothing crazy. But the first thing is that most variables are what's called snake case, meaning that, so let's say you have a variable that you want to make, okay? It's called booty variable, right? So booty variable. That's fine. You can name it that if you want to, but usually when you have 2 words or something like that, you want to separate them by an underscore. That's just common practice because they're easier to read and it just looks better, right? So it's equal to 6. So now booty variable is equal to 6, and now we can do booty variable. Oops, booty variable. I can't type. There we go. So it's equal to 6, okay? So that's very common. It's called snake case whenever you separate the words by an underscore, okay? And make sure everything else is lowercase, by the way. You don't have to, of course. Like I said, you could do whatever you want, really. But just make sure that you follow the conventions most of the time because that's how other people do it, right? And that's how people do it usually, okay? And so besides snake case, most variables should be lowercase, like I said. But there are some exceptions, like you have constants, which are variables that do not change ever, basically. So if you want to make a constant, you could do booty variable like that, okay? And then if another developer sees the variable name of booty variable within your code, they know it's going to be a constant because you follow the conventions, hopefully, right? So yeah, other people can tell, and also you can tell that a variable is going to be a constant if it's all uppercase, just like that, okay? And of course, separate each word by a constant. What's it called? An underscore, right? So that's how you do that. You also have camel case, which is useful for naming classes, and you'll learn a lot about classes later on, don't worry. But yeah, so camel case will look something like this. It's kind of like a camel because camels have humps, right? So let's see. So let's say you have a sentence, right? Let's think here. Trees are really cool. And as you can see here, the first letter of each word is capital, right? That's camel case. That's simply how camel case works. It's a very simple, but that's how it works, okay? The first letter of each word is going to be capital, okay? Pretty simple stuff. That's only for classes, pretty much. That's what that convention is for. So yeah, I know I taught you a lot here. Not really that much, actually, but pretty much I taught you how to assign variables, which is very simple. All you got to do is choose a name, like a goober, and then give it a value, right? 24, right? And then, of course, there's the naming rules. Like, you can't start it with a number. You can only start it with a letter or an underscore whenever you're naming variables. And then, of course, you have naming conventions, which is stuff that you should follow, even though you don't have to, okay? It's just common practice, right? So, I know I went kind of fast, but it's very simple. That's why I went fast. So, if you have any questions about what I did, you could ask a question in the comment section below. I'll be glad to help you. And, yeah, so if you like this video, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. And peace.